Hey, welcome to World Entertainment, and this is the full spoiler review for Joker Folie Deux. So if you haven't seen the movie yet and you want to, click away now, see the movie, then come back and have a watch. If you don't care, stick around and you'll hear what happens. But the spoiler stuff is more later into the movie, so everything in Arkham, there's nothing really to spoil because it's literally him just kind of being pushed around by the guards and stuff. They do set one thing up visually with a guy who you know something's gonna come back around with him. So the main stuff to kind of touch on that spoilery is really in the courtrooms and stuff. So with Harvey Dent and stuff being in this movie, does he become Two-Face? Yes, kind of. What ends up happening is when Arthur goes on trial, the reason the trial isn't just there for the murder case for him killing 6 people, it's actually 7. No one realizes he killed his mother. It's for the death penalty. They're sentencing him to death if he's found guilty. But he ends up kind of losing it a tiny bit in the court where he's saying, like, I'm not taking anything from you. I'm sick of taking crap from the big fat stupid guards in Arkham. I'm not doing from you, and you just want to blow everything up and all that type of stuff. And by the end of the movie, when the jury is reading out the sentence and they're finding him guilty, and of course he gets that nervous laugh. When he's nervous, he starts laughing, and one of the victim's fathers tries to attack him. The courtroom blows up. Someone had a car bomb outside, and while he gets up, he looks over and Harvey is there in shock with shards in one side of his face. Only bits. And you're like, is that it? Is that how you're trying to say he's Two-Face? Like, that's terrible. And he escapes from there, and that's where you get what you saw in the trailer and stuff, which I start thinking, was this even going to be in it? Of the guy dressed head to toe as Joker. He gets him, throws him into a car with another guy who's in one of the masks, and they get stuck in traffic, and he jumps out and runs off, and they try and chase him. By this stage, his closing argument in the court is to flat out say that he's not Joker, that the Joker doesn't exist. And this is where they kind of undo the first movie, where he very much became Joker. Even though you're wondering, was it all in his head? Now and they're flat out telling you, no, this was never Joker, that he is not the Joker. And because he says this in the court as his closing defense, Harley Quinn doesn't want anything to do with him. She gets up and walks out, and so do a few other people. The thing with that is you realize, oh, she was literally that much of a fangirl that it was Joker she wanted. She didn't actually care about Arthur Fleck. She wanted Joker and only Joker. She did tell him, now, oh, by the way, if you want to see the Joker and Harley getting it on, you get that in this. No, you don't see any nakedness or anything, but you see them humping a bit. And then she later on tells him that she's pregnant. Now, why is she in Arkham? Well, she tells him she's a psychopath, that she tried to burn down her apartment block. Her mother is put her in there, and her father died in a car crash. His lawyer ends up telling him, no, she's playing you as a fool. She's lied to you. She checked herself into Arkham and then checked herself out after meeting him. Her father is still alive and is a doctor, and they do hint that, yes, well, they tell you that she did do a course in psychology. So there's your little hint that she was a therapist and stuff. But she comes to visit him in prison, and he asks her, like, did you lie to me? And she's like, well, yeah, everyone lies a little bit. And then she tells him she's pregnant. You don't actually know whether she is or isn't. Now, as I said in the non-spoiler review, she only dons the makeup by the end of the film, like when she's coming into the third act, where she's putting on the makeup that she goes to court in that red jacket. And if you remember, all the papers and, papers, did you hear me? The websites and stuff are going, oh, is this version of Harley Quinn actually bisexual? Because look, she's kissing a woman. That scene isn't in the movie. So whether they cut it out or what, I don't know. But that scene of her kissing this woman who I believe is meant to be a reporter, is not in the movie at all. When Arthur says he's not Joker, that Joker's not real, and she leaves, while closing case is happening and all this stuff, and there's another song playing, we see her sitting in her apartment and she puts a gun to her head. So the implication is, oh, she must have topped herself. But when he escapes the court after the explosion and he comes to the stairway, she's sitting midway up it, and he runs up, and that is when we have her with the short hair in the full makeup and that kind of white suit. And it's at that moment, with the way she's talking to him, what he's trying to say to her, and she starts kind of singing at him, you realise this part is in his head, that she must be actually dead, that he's just seeing her. He obviously doesn't know she's dead, but it's very much implicated that that was all in his head. The part when he lost it in the court, when he said, I'm not taking any more crap from you, or the stupid fat guards, well, that pissed the guards off. So when he's brought back after that court day to the prison, the guards get him, drag him into the showers, start kicking the shit out of him, start stripping him, and then drag him into the actual showers. And you're not sure whether the implication here is, did they beat him, or did they do naughty things to him? That's not explained. I think that's left up to your own interpretation. Because you would think if they were going to do the naughty stuff, you would start seeing them kind of unbuckle their belts and stuff, and you don't. They're kind of, Brendan Gleeson's character of Jackie is just kind of stand there going, get him on the ground and stuff, and strip him. But they're in the showers, so you're wondering, like, are they just going to beat him? And they're going to do it in the shower so they can wash the blood away or something. It's not known. And when they throw him back in, there's this character who it keeps kind of floating around him in the prison, this young guy. And he starts chanting for Arthur when they drag him back to the cell and they dump him in. And we can hear him being murdered by Jackie, Brendan Gleeson's character, that he's choking him out. You can hear the other cops going, he can't breathe, like, ease up, Jackie. And he's like, shut the fuck up. And then they're like, he's gone. So you find out, you realise, oh, he snapped and killed this inmate. But Arthur's kind of just lying there, and you're still can't figure out, like, did they do what we think they did, or did they beat him? It's because you don't see any marks on him, but you're not seeing any light on it where you could tell if there's marks on his body or not. So I think that part's kind of left up to your interpretation. As for that ending that's divisive, this is really the main spoiler thing to kind of go over. He's brought back, he's caught when he sees Harley, and he talks with her on the stairs and she walks off. He's like, I can't live without you. And she's like, yeah, basically it was, oh, you never loved Arthur type thing. He's like, but you're pregnant. And she says nothing to that and just leaves. In fact, that's also where you really realise, oh, I think she deleted herself in the apartment. Like, there's no other reason you would show that scene, and then she's there with short hair and stuff. And in that particular scene, no one seems to acknowledge her. But the cops pull up and they catch him and bring him back to Arkham, of course. The guy who you could see, I can't remember if I said that in this one or the previous one, they set something up in the beginning with a guy that's kind of just staring at him, which you instantly know something's going to happen with this guy. So Arthur gets told, hey, come on, you've got a visitor. Now, you don't know, again, whether he actually has a visitor or whether the guard is setting him up. But the guard leading him to, obviously, the visitation area. And he's like, come on, Arthur, hurry up. And the guard walks off, and he's only walking down this corridor kind of slowly. And that guy, who we see multiple times, and he never says anything. He's always kind of just in the background, but he's always there. Comes around and goes, hey, Arthur, hold up. And he's like, yeah. And he goes, can I tell you a joke? I came up with it the other day. And he's like, will it be quick? And he's like, yeah. He goes, okay. The guy starts telling him a joke, and it's basically, a guy walks into a bar, blah, blah, blah. And it's meant to be that he's obviously telling him that he wanted to meet Joker, and he thought Joker was his idol. And then he finds out that because Arthur said in court, Joker's not real, this guy finds it a disappointment. And then, of course, he brings up this, so can I buy you a drink? Like, this is all part of the joke. And he's like, yeah, can I buy you a drink? And he goes, well, what are you having? And he goes, how about what you fucking deserve? And stabs Arthur. He shanks him. And Arthur dies. He sings one more song. He has a vision of him as Joker after Harley shot him. He had this vision where she shot him. So he's on the ground, he's singing to her. But then he's dying while this guy is laughing his ass off behind him. And the guy is he's out of focus, but we can see him cutting his mouth. So he's giving himself the smile scars. Which is obviously, they're confirming that Arthur isn't the Joker. But he's just inspired someone else to become the Joker. And I think that's what they were going with. It's a terrible ending. Should never have been done that way. It really was stupid. Especially when it's this nobody. Now, people, I think they're trying to do it as the nobody because it's like, well, Joker doesn't really have a background and that's what everyone loved. It's just this random guy in prison who just walks up. It made no sense either. But seeing that, the fact that you can see him behind him giving them the scars, you're drawing comparisons saying, wait, is he meant to be the Heath Ledger Joker? Because he's given himself the Glasgow smile. You don't know. Obviously, they're probably not. But at the same time, it's is that what they're trying to hint at? Don't know. But that is the ending. It's that guy laughing after cutting himself with Arthur lying on the ground dead. He dies. So that's how the movie ends. So that is your divisive ending, that Arthur isn't Joker and is killed. So again, overall, I still give the movie a 4.5 out of 10. Again, it's not absolutely horrendous, but it's not good either. The singing does get boring and whatnot, and yeah, I don't think it's going to ruin your experience of watching the first movie, but it does affect it a bit. So with that, I shall leave it here for this one. So like, share, subscribe. Cheers, and I will catch you in the next one.